Good morning, Peterborough. My name is Jim Tubb, and it is time for your Sports Break, broadcasted through the facilities here at Trent Radio on 92.7 C Triple FM here in Peterborough, Canada. The show can be streamed online at trentradio.ca, or you can follow what we're talking about on Twitter at SportsBreakTR. The weather outside today it's a bit chilly. It's about negative 28 here in Peterborough as of 8 a.m. Let me refresh, see if it's any... I bet you it hasn't got any warmer. I can guarantee that. Just from getting here this morning. But negative 28 sounds about right. The wind chill here doesn't look like it shows the wind chill. Well, it's cold. I don't know how else to say that. Peterborough right now has an extreme cold warning in effect. For all that means, it's cold. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, bundle up. Don't get frostbite. It can develop within... I'm just reading off of the weather statement here. Within minutes on exposed skin, especially with wind chill. Whatever our wind chill here is today in Peterborough. Just bundle up. My mom, if she's listening to this, I bought a coat for the first... I haven't owned a coat in 3 years. I found it hasn't been cold enough. I don't know if you can hear by the sound of my voice. A little under the weather. Bought a coat, bit the bullet. We're going to see how it goes from now on. With my luck, I just bought a coat, and it's going to get, warm the rest of the year and the rest of my life, and I'll never need a winter jacket again. But, you got to make everybody happy. Still a beautiful day to talk about sports. It's always a great start when you ruin your intro. What day isn't great to talk about sports, though? And we've had a lot to talk about since last week's show with the NHL, MLB, the NFL. We don't talk about a lot the NFL a lot here on Sports Break. Maybe we should. A lot of people like the NFL. We always do this Super Bowl recap. We'll definitely do a Super Bowl recap. But this weekend, if you've heard of the Drake curse, Drake, the singer, from the Six, God's Plan, that guy. It's known as the Drake's curse. Whatever team Drake cheers for loses. So Drake, as a joke, put all 4 logos of the football teams that were playing this weekend on his chest in a black sweater, and kind of just said, "Yeah, I'm cheering for them all. So they're all going to win or lose. Are all going to lose." Sorry. And this was literally the wildest weekend, with the first game with the Rams and Saints getting decided on a missed pass interference call, which was bananas, bananas. And then the Patriots game, where they were the underdog, kind of the Chiefs. I thought they were the underdog. Brady just pulling it out of his butt. Almost slipped a word there that I shouldn't have said. And just playing like Brady, Everyone's saying, "Oh, Brady can't win. The Patriots too slow, too old, not good enough." And then Tom Brady pulled a Tom Brady, and they won. So the Super Bowl sets up for the LA Rams and the New England Patriots. It's in Atlanta, Georgia this year. Should be a good game, which we will definitely talk about when it happens. But for now, we're going to stick with the NHL. And Henrik Lundqvist, I think I'm saying that right, probably not, made history Saturday night when he recorded his 446th career win over the Boston Bruins. He passed Hall of Famer Terry Sawchuk on the NHL's all-time win list. He now ranks 6th all-time among starters. This was his 840th start, and he can move ahead of Cujo, Curtis Joseph, into the top 5 with 10 more wins. But he's not the only NHLer who's got a high amount of wins. Of course, everyone knows Roberto Luongo, that old fart. He has 480 wins. He's 4th all-time. And Marc-Andre Fleury has 430 career wins. He's 9th all-time right now. So you may be thinking, ooh, they're getting close to the top. Martin Brodeur still holds the NHL record for most wins with 691. So Luongo himself is 211 wins away. So, yeah. He's old. And I mean that as nice as possible, but he's old. So I don't know if that's going to happen. The only guy that realistically could catch Brodeur, even Patrick Waugh has 551 wins. Only person that could catch them is Fleury, I would say, with 430 wins. Because Fleury's, I think, 34. So if he has... I'm going to pull up a calculator. I tried to do math on the show, and it never works out. He's at 430. So let's say he's 34. 6 more seasons. This is not good at radio at all, but I'm just doing quick math here. I would love to see Fleury try to challenge Brodeur for most wins all time. I don't know if anyone can ever do it. Brodeur is just that good. He's just that dominant, and he probably will stay the NHL all-time wins leader. And saying about this now, thinking about it, actually, I kind of wish he does stay, because I feel like if somebody challenges him and overtops him, people are just going to kind of forget about how good Martin Brodeur was, going to forget how good Patrick Waugh was. I forget Eddie Belfour was third on that list. I don't think about Eddie Belfour as that. I know he was a really good goaltender, one of the best. I didn't realize he was third all-time wins. But believe it or not, that's a worry for a lot of days away of anyone catching Brodeur. Speaking of retired players, the Columbus Blue Jackets hired forward Martin St. Louis, former forward Martin St. Louis, as a special teams consultant. The 46-year-old scored 101 of his 391 goals with the man advantage on the power play. The Blue Jackets have the 4th worst power play in the NHL, and of course St. Louis played for current Blue Jackets head coach John Tortorella for 7 seasons and won the Stanley Cup with him in 2004. Try to get the Columbus Blue Jackets clicking before they lose Artemi Panarin, the Breadman, and Sergei Bobrovsky to free agency. Probably this offseason they're going to lose them. The Carolina Hurricanes signed forward Teuvo Teravainen to a 5-year contract Monday with an average annual value of $5.4 million. Woo! That's a lot of money. He ranks second on the team on the Carolina Hurricanes with 39 points in 48 games, 12 more than the third's leading scorer, Justin Williams. Of course, he had 64 points last year in his breakout campaign, and he's built some good chemistry with countryman Sebastian Aho during his time in Carolina. He did play for the Blackhawks when they won their Stanley Cup, so Teuvo Teravainen, never would have thought about it. I honestly didn't know until I just read this. He Stanley Cup champion. Good for him. Carolina getting all the old guys. That's a team I'd like to see good. I'm sure a lot of people would too. Like to see them get better than they are, because they look good. They got young defense, this and that. We're not going to get into that. The Minnesota Wild trade Nito Niederreiter to the Hurricanes for Victor Rask. This was announced on Thursday. Niederreiter, 26, was in the midst of a down season with 9 goals and 14 assists in 46 games. I can do that quick math. That's crap. I can't do that quick math. That's 23 points. I got it. Good trade for both teams. Both guys kind of starting the season off tough, and this is just their way of trying to spark each other's players, and it's worked, actually. Nito Niederreiter scored 2 goals in his first game, and Victor Rask looks great in Minnesota. The San Jose Sharks shut down defenseman Erik Karlsson, who they traded for this offseason, until after the All-Star break. Karlsson didn't play Saturday against the Tampa Bay Lightning with an undisclosed injury, and he's going to be at least 2 more games. Monday night against Florida and Tuesday night against Washington. Of course, following the All-Star break, the Sharks don't play again until February 2nd. After his slow start to the season, Karlsson has been red hot over his last 20 games. He has 3 goals and 40 assists in 47 games so far. So we did talk about that at the beginning of the season, of Erik Karlsson just not playing well, and he's kind of picked it up, which is nice to see, because he is one of the league's best at the moment. Speaking of the league's best, Connor McDavid is up there. I would argue. A lot of people would argue Connor McDavid, best player in the league. Well, to each their own. I still think it's Sidney Crosby. But what team does Connor McDavid play for? He plays for the Edmonton Oilers. What's going on in Edmonton right now? Well, some would say they're struggling, not playing well, injuries, this and that. I would call it an oil fire. Ha ha ha. It's early. But they're not having a good start to the season. It's simple as that. They didn't play good last season, and they're just not playing good this season. Currently, they sit in the bottom 5 of their conference and in the whole league. They sit 22nd. They have a 23-23-3 record through 49 games. Not good. Simple as that. Now, are they challenging for a playoff spot? Well, no. That's simple too. And it's a team that should be so good because they have Connor McDavid. They have Leon Draisaitl. They should be a good hockey team, but they're not. And it kind of frustrates me because a guy like Connor McDavid deserves to have good wingers. Kind of like Crosby went through this his whole career. He had Chris Kunitz, but didn't have anyone else to really like complement him or supplement that skill. And it kind of hurt Crosby for a while because people didn't know, well, maybe Crosby's slowing down and he's not as good as he used to be. But nope. It's just you need wingers to play with, and he's got that now in Jake Gensel. But we're not talking about Crosby now. McDavid and the Oilers are trash. And there's no other way to put it. The Oilers placed forwards Ryan Spooner and Ty Rattie on the waiver wire Monday. Of course, Spooner was acquired from the New York Rangers in November in exchange for Ryan Strome, who Edmonton originally received from the New York Islanders in the Jordan Eberle trade. Spooner is on the books for this season and next with a cap at $3.1 million. He has 2 goals and an assist in 24 games. So they turned Jordan Eberle into a waiver wire player, and people on Twitter are being mean about this because it's just they should be way better than they are right now, and they've done all. I shouldn't say they. Peter Chiarelli has done all these moves to try to make them one of the best teams in the league, try to help Connor McDavid to succeed, and he just can't do anything right. Anything. Trading away really good players for nothing because he thinks it works. And I wouldn't put it past him to trade Connor McDavid. I think he would think that's a great idea. He would probably think, I could get a good return for Connor McDavid, and then we could just play without him. Somebody made this. It's kind of funny. Before we get to it, putting Spooner and Rattie on waivers, if both clear and are assigned to the AHL, the Oilers would still be $1.3 million in full cap value above the ceiling. This is from Cap Friendly's Twitter. By their calculation, that's the equivalent of 2 additional assignments or a trade in order to activate defenseman Sekera off of long-term injured reserve. So they're not helping themselves anything at all. All the players that Peter Chiarelli himself has traded away could field a pretty good team. Taylor Hall, Tyler Seguin, Phil Kessel, Matthew Barzal, Blake Wheeler, Jordan Eberle, UC Jokinen. I'm just going through a list here. Johnny Boychuk, Justin Schultz, Matt Hunwick, Dennis Weidman, Chris Weidman, Timmy Thomas. If you remember Timmy Thomas, that's an old NHL name. That's from like 2012, 2011. But the Oilers right now are just not as good as they should be. And it's getting frustrating because last year was the same. And McDavid just plays phenomenal. But they just can't get a save. Cam Talbot hasn't been good since his first season in Edmonton. And the Oilers now have rookie goaltender Mikko Koskinen, who they signed to a 3-year extension, averaging $4.5 million per year. He's been impressive since joining Edmonton. In 27 appearances this season, he owns a 14-10-1 record with a 2.78 goals against average and a .911 save percentage. They're hoping that he's going to be their goalie and that he's going to help them out because they really need that right now. And they've needed it forever, as long as Connor McDavid's been in the league. And it's sad to see the way things are going for McDavid because he deserves better. When you have arguably the best player in the game and he can't succeed because it's just him. If Connor McDavid doesn't score, the team doesn't score. If Connor McDavid doesn't have a hat trick or 2 goals or assist on 2 goals, the team just doesn't win. In 48 games, Connor McDavid has 72 points, which is absurd. Sorry. Couldn't think of that word. It's an easy word to remember. It's just Connor McDavid, though. This is a one-player team. And there's a video here of McDavid talking about the frustrations of the Oilers franchise. And I can feel like Connor McDavid is frustrated as well. It's 4 years now into the McDavid era, and it's supposed to be better than this. Now, they're 5 games out of a wild card. I'm just waiting for Nad here. They're 5 games out of the wild card spot, and I'm going to kick her off here to Connor McDavid. I wish it was live, but it's not. McDavid here.
From the fans, Connor, I mean, you're a few points out of the playoff spot, but there seems to be a pretty high level of frustration. What do you guys sense on the bench and maybe around town? And what's your sense of things right now with the fan base?
Yeah, we can hear it. We hear the boos and we hear the stuff that's going on, but we understand the fans are frustrated. We expect better out of ourselves, and they obviously expect better of us. So we need to be better. But the only people that seem to believe in us are the guys in the locker room, and we need to rally behind that.
It's part of the message when you have these team meetings, the fact that there's no magical fix here. Like, no one's going to get parachuted out and someone brought in to kind of help you guys stay in games. It's going to be on whoever's behind those doors.
Absolutely. It's not like a switch is just going to get flicked and we're going to be a good hockey team. It's going to take a collective work ethic, guys buying in, and it's a lot of hard work. It's not easy to win hockey games, and I think we've forgotten that.
Is part of the challenge that some guys don't think that those 23 guys in there are the right group to be able to do that?
Well, if there's guys that believe that, then they should get they should get out of the room. If you don't believe in this group and you're in the locker room, then you need to leave. So I don't get that sense. I don't feel that way. I think that everyone in there believes in each other and believes we'll get it done.
Hot takes. Oh, another ad. Hot takes there from Connor McDavid. Was asked if there's people in the room that don't think that this is the team to succeed, and McDavid essentially just saying, well, if there's people that believe that, they should get out. They should get out of the room right now. Which is kind of, I wonder if maybe somebody has said something to McDavid like, I don't think this team is good. I don't think we can succeed. And he might have lost it on them, or just said, shut up. Not shut up, but like, keep it to yourself, and we're not going to talk about this again. Because this shouldn't be something McDavid has to deal with. You never saw it with Crosby. Never saw it with Ovechkin. Jack Eichel doesn't deal with stuff like this. It's just the Oilers. And the Oilers haven't handled stars well since they had Wayne Gretzky. And they didn't handle that well. They traded him. I know last week we tried to put out the tire fire and the fire that was around Jake Gardiner and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we'll get to the Leafs in a bit. But right now, I'm trying to throw sticks on this oil fire in Edmonton. I'm going to continue that oil fire joke all show long. Best believe it's probably going to be the title of the episode, too. Show episode. I put it up on YouTube. It's the episode, whatever. But just, it all boils down to one thing. And in my opinion, at least, it all boils down to one thing. And that's Peter Chiarelli. Now, you might think, well, you can't blame it all on the GM. The players got to play, too. True. But you got to have good players. You can't send out guys like Tyler Addy on McDavid's line, Ryan Spooner, these guys. Connor McDavid he can play with them. Connor McDavid's going to score with whoever's on his line. But he can't be the only one scoring. Sure, they have Leon Draisaitl, they have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Alex Chiasson's having a good season. But that's 4 guys. I can't think there's people on the Edmonton Oilers roster never heard of. I think half the names are made up. They sound made up. It just isn't a good enough team. And it's not up to Connor McDavid to create his team. It's not up to the head coach. That's why Tom McClellan lost his job. It's just not fair that everybody else on the Edmonton Oilers is paying for Peter Chiarelli's mistakes. Now, of course, Milan Lucic contract is up in there. The mistreatment of Jesse Puljujarvi and the slow development of Puljujarvi, I should say. It's not all on the coaching staff there. Puljujarvi just hasn't performed, and that's kind of on him. But they're almost giving up on him, and you can't give up on a player that young because he's going to be good someday, or he seems to be like he's going to be good someday. Now, they have had injuries to their defense. Excuse me, sorry, got the yawns again. Andre Sekera, Oscar Klefbom, 2 guys on their defense that have been hurt and are important. But you still look back, the Taylor Hall for Adam Larson trade, trading away a former MVP, or MVP and Taylor Hall for a defenseman in Adam Larson, who really hasn't performed well, or performed up to standards. You got Leon Draisaitl, who you drafted, paid a lot of money for, and he can't play well unless he's on Connor McDavid's wing. Kind of shows he's not a good player. Like, again, I keep going back to Crosby, because you can't compare Connor McDavid to anyone else but Sidney Crosby. And maybe not even Sidney Crosby. Maybe he's better than Crosby. But Crosby had Chris Kunitz and like Pascal Dupuis were 2 liners I always think of for Crosby. You put them on other lines, they're not as good. It's as simple as that. They're just not as good as a hockey player. You put them on Crosby's line, they can be 20, 30 goal scorers. And it's as simple as that. That's just how good he was. And McDavid is the reason Draisaitl got paid. And he's the reason Draisaitl is costing the Oilers this much money. With the, I can't even think of how to spell his name, or say his name, Mikko Koskinen signing. The Edmonton Oilers have $6 million next year to spend before they hit the cap. Unless the cap goes up more, of course. But that's not a lot of money to do a whole lot with to address the needs that they have. And that's just simply defensemen. Right now they have 51 grand in cap space. Not enough. And this offseason they're going to have to sign Alex Chazin, who's having a great season for them. Tobias Ryder, Jesse Puljujärvi is an RFA, Ty Ratty's an RFA. And Cam Talbot's off the books. But with the signing of Mikko Koskinen, I don't know if they're even going to keep Cam Talbot. It'll be interesting to see. But, like, what are they doing? Cap Friendly, which is for those that don't know or don't care enough about hockey to look into this, is a website where you can look up all the contracts on every NHL team cap hit compared to the salary cap, who was drafted where. They've now created a thing. Excuse me, you can track general managers and you can see who they've traded for, what they've traded, who they've picked, like in drafts and stuff like that. And if you look on Peter Chiarelli's, it's not a good thing to look at because it's a lot of really good players, like I read out, that have been traded away for nothing. For nothing. You cannot have Jordan Eberle become Ryan Spooner and be happy about that and think you won the trades because you didn't. Look at where the Oilers are compared to where the Islanders are. Islanders are top in the Metro. Last time I checked, they might not be anymore, but they're still having a good season without John Tavares, which is something we should talk about more. I don't like that. I don't think they're that good. I think they're going to regress. But at least they got up there. Edmonton hasn't got up there since that one season when Connor McDavid made the playoffs. And I say Connor McDavid because he was the sole reason they made the playoffs. They haven't done anything since. And that's in 4 years of Connor McDavid on the Oilers. Of course, his first year, his rookie season, he was hurt by a Brandon Manning check. Brandon Manning now on the Oilers, which I wonder is playing into this McDavid thing maybe. Maybe him and Brandon Manning aren't as good as he says they are, and he still holds feelings against Manning for injuring him, costing him the Calder Trophy. 2-hour Timmy Panarin. Sorry, late night last night. Doing nothing at all in early morning leads to a lot of yawning. Trying to cut it out. Just the oil. I don't know what else to say. I'm rambling now. But the Oilers, it's going to cost Connor McDavid the Hart Trophy like it did last year. He'll win the Players' Trophy. I believe it's the Pearson, Lester Pearson. That sounds about right. Yeah. He's probably going to win the Art Ross for the most points. Maybe he'll win the Maurice Rocket Richard for most goals. But he can't. I feel like we are being robbed of something that shouldn't say deserve. We don't deserve anything as sports fans. We deserve the best, and the Edmonton Oilers aren't giving the best. Peter Chiarelli is costing the Edmonton Oilers fans, and Connor McDavid himself the chance at a playoff run, the chance at success, just by not bringing guys in, not by making terrible moves. And I don't know how he still has a job. I think after this season, he should be gone. Of course, moving to GM in the middle of the season is tough, so maybe that's why they haven't. But you cannot let this guy restart your rebuild. And they shouldn't be rebuilding. It should be a retool. But they have to rebuild, I think. Just because their team isn't good enough. with a team with one of the best players in the league, you should be good. Or that's usually how that works. Look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, have some of the best players. I say some of the best players kind of lightly there. Everyone has their own opinion. Of course, Austin Matthews is in a slump right now. But they're a good team because they have good players around them. And the GMs, before Kyle Dubas, because he's a rookie, it doesn't really count, have made a good team. Of course, he was the assistant manager on those teams, so he kind of helped. But what I'm saying is it lives or dies by the general manager. And the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers has shot himself in the foot and continues to shoot himself in the foot instead of trying to bandage it and move on. I haven't seen a move from Peter Chiarelli that's good in a long time. Even the Mikko Koskinen signing. Casey DeSmith for the Pittsburgh Penguins, arguably the same goaltender, a little older actually, signed for $1 million a year. Mikko Koskinen's kind of got, Peter Chiarelli by the gonads, and got an extra $3 million a year. You can't be giving out contracts like that, Peter. That's what Lucic is on your team forever for a lot of money. And sure, he has more goals than William Nylander. That's fine, but he's expected to have a lot of goals, and he doesn't. The fact that Milan Lucic scores now is a surprise is not a good thing. That's not funny. That's not something you should be giggling about. It's actually really bad because you signed him to be a good hockey player, a good goal scorer, and tough guy, and he's just costing you money. He's costing you wins. He's costing Connor McDavid his prime because McDavid is getting into his prime, and of course we're not being robbed of that too much because McDavid performs. He's got 70 points in 40 games. He's a really good hockey player. But just think of what we would see in the playoffs from Connor McDavid, or if he had guys around him. Maybe Connor McDavid could get 120, 130 points if he had people around him to pass to. If he had other guys and he wasn't the main focus to play. Heck, McDavid played... I almost getting heated. McDavid was playing 25 minutes a game to start the season. You can't do that. Now, is that on the head coach? Yes, and McClellan's gone now. But trading away all of these players and signing Milan Lucic to that stupid contract is not anyone's fault. Is no one's fault, except for Peter Chiarelli. And I think that's where they got to look. That's where they got to start, and they got to get rid of him before they do anything else. Before he even considers trading Connor McDavid. Or Leon Draisaitl even, because Draisaitl's not a bad player. He just doesn't have anyone to play with. And it's the same with Connor McDavid. And I don't know. I think that oil fire is going to burn and burn and burn. And that's it. There's nothing more we can do. But Connor McDavid's there for the next 11 years, I believe. Or 10, 11 years. Maybe after that he leaves. Who knows? Maybe, hopefully in 10 years they're a good hockey team. And they got good guys there. 10 years from now, who knows what's going to happen. Look at 10 years past, like 10 years ago, the whole 10-year challenge. Haha. I don't even know what year that's 2009. Look who the stars of the league were then. The Detroit Red Wings were one of the best teams in the league. Back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals for the Red Wings and Penguins. It's just amazing what 10 years can be. And I just hope 10 years from now, 2 years from now, next year, the Oilers are decent enough that Connor McDavid is not wasted on them. Because right now he is, and it's Peter Chiarelli's fault, and that's it. There's no one else to blame for that. Now, another Canadian. We're going to move on to the Leafs here. There's nothing more for me to say on the Oilers. The Leafs have struggled mightily in the last 10 games. They have 7 losses. 3 wins and 7 losses. Of course, losing to the Arizona Coyotes on Sunday night. Of course, they beat Tampa Thursday night and then lose to Florida Friday, Saturday off, lose to Arizona on Sunday. Just no consistency within the team. Andreas Johnsson getting hurt in the Arizona Diamond and Coyotes game, out with a concussion. The Leafs will be calling up Trevor Moore for their last game before the All-Star break and the bye week. Gardner missed the game Monday. For back spasms. He's been playing through it for a while, but he tried to get out on Sunday morning skate, and just couldn't skate. Missed that game. Probably going to miss the game this week and get the All-Star break to just kind of cool down. The Leafs and Mike Babcock juggling things up, putting Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner together for the first time in their career starting the game. This upcoming game, it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, Tavares just gets his 30th goal of the season, and Babcock goes, yeah, you got Marner there. We're going to take Marner off your wing, try to get Matty started here, which I can understand. As a point, you want to get Austin Matthews started, but to kind of ruin Tavares' chemistry with him, I don't know about that. Hopefully it works. Of course, the Leafs are still trying to rebound Nylander, get Nylander started, who still only has that one goal. And I don't know if it's his fault exactly. It's kind of hard to come back from not playing to playing. And, the Leafs, I don't know what else to say right now. They are not the team that they were before Christmas. It's as simple as that. Maybe too much turkey and stuffing over the Christmas break. But they're just not scoring at a consistent rate. Matthews is on the biggest slump of his career. It's just not a good sight in Toronto right now. People are freaking out. People are losing it, calling for heads, calling for Kyle Dubas to trade for. And it's interesting who Overdrive on TSN made a good point, Brian Hayes, that in Pittsburgh, GM Jimmy Rutherford, if his team struggles, they know he's going to make a trade, and that's a huge thing with him. We don't know with Kyle Dubas what's going to happen now. He's never been in a slump like this. Mike Babcock, we're going to have to see what he's going to try to do to get the team out of the slump here. Because they are still in a playoff spot. They are still second in the division, ahead of Boston by 1 point with one game in hand. But you can't rely on your previous record to help you. You can't keep winning 3 out of 10 games. It's just not going to work. Now, the next game is a Wednesday against the Washington Capitals in Toronto. Excuse me, again, not great radio to yawn right into the mic. But the Leafs right now, it's just, I don't know what else to say. They're not performing. It's as simple as that. And I don't know what's going on with Austin Matthews. He looks frustrated. He's trying to get off as many shots as he can, and it's just not working. He's getting frustrated. You can tell with every shot, and it's kind of making him play worse. It's making the whole team play worse almost. When you see your best player struggle like that, you almost start to struggle yourself, and you think, man, if he can't score, and if you're having trouble scoring yourself, thinking, man, Matty's not scoring, Matthews isn't scoring, and I can't either. Ooh, it's going to be harder for me to get out of this than him. And it just kind of plays in the whole team. And especially with the Nylander thing, he's looked pedestrian since coming back. The team has gone 9-9-2 since he came back on December 6th. I still don't think he should have played as soon as he came back. He should have took some time off. I don't know. It's not on me. It's kind of on Babcock, but Babcock's the kind of guy you get in the lineup and you play. And maybe it's going to take another 2-3 games for Nylander to get back into the rotation, get his body and mind back into game mode, because I don't think he's there yet. And there has been some players look good. Travis Dermott's looked pretty good during this little slump here. Zach Hyman's coming out of injury, hasn't looked terrible. Of course, Connor Brown's Connor Brown. Kadri, haven't heard much from Kadri. Patty Marleau looks like he's 40 years old, and it's just, there's nothing else. That's it. The Leafs are just on a slump, and can they fix it? Probably. When? Who knows? It would be nice. It'd be nice to win the game for the Leafs before the All-Star break. So you go into the All-Star break, Matthews, Tavares, go to the All-Star game. They're kind of happy. They won against the Capitals. Hopefully that's the game Ovi takes off, since he's going to skip the All-Star game. Some of the guys get the rest that they need during the All-Star game to go with those that aren't going. And they come back from the All-Star break better, because the trade deadline's not that far away. And by then you need to decide, what is this team going to be? And what does Kyle Dubas need to bring in to push for the playoffs? Because this is a really good hockey team when they're clicking, and you can't forget that. Sure, they're struggling right now. They're still a really good hockey team. And what's it going to take to push them? Is it going to take a defenseman, a new defenseman on the back end? Is it going to take 2 defensemen on the back end that you have to trade for? People throwing out names, Alex Pietrangelo. It's an expensive fix. Colton Parayako, I think is how you say it. Radko Gudas. Jake Muzzin from Los Angeles Kings. I don't know where I keep saying the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks have nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. The Leafs need to decide what they're going to be, because they can't be a team that's resting on their morals like they have. At the beginning of the season, it looked fun to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. You'd score 6 goals a game. For Austin Matthews, it looked like every game he would score. He would shoot the puck and score, and now it's just gone away. And they're not really trying to fix it. Nylander's huge on him. He's just coasting. He doesn't skate hard. I'm not trying to crap on anyone right now. It's frustrating to see from a outside perspective, and to try to figure out how they should fix it. I don't know if they know, and I don't know where this is going to take them, how long it's going to take them to bounce back, come out of it. But for right now, it's all we have, and a 3-7 record is just not going to get the job done. Hopefully, they go 4-6 going into the All-Star break. Looks a little better, and then just play better. I don't know what else to say. Is it up on Babcock? I think Babcock's got to be under a bit of a hot seat right now. Not to get fired, of course, because he's still the best coach in the league, in my opinion. But to just kind of like not smart. I'm trying to say smart. I don't want to be like rude here, but like just get going. Like, I don't know what else to say here. Don't take what they did and coast with it. Get the players to somehow play for the future. And I don't know what else to say there. Now I'm just rambling for sure. We're going to head into a break here before we talk about baseball, the Hall of Fame, and the Toronto Blue Jays. The music this week, of course, usually we've been playing Brett Kissel's Hockey Please Come Back. This week we're going to play a song. I didn't realize it existed until last week. It's by a guy named Smitty Kingston. I don't know if that's his actual name or not. And it's about the Humboldt Broncos and the Humboldt Broncos accident, of course, a year ago now in April. He wrote this song for them called Stick Out by the Door. And we're going to play it here. We're going to listen to it. We're going to go into the break here. And we'll be right back for your sports break. We're back here, ladies and gentlemen, for your sports break, broadcasting on 92.7 C Triple FM through the facilities here at Trent Radio in the beautiful Peterborough, Canada. The weather outside is it's around a negative 24. Found the wind chill on the screen I was looking at. It's a negative 28. Our extreme cold warning has ended, ladies and gentlemen. Go outside in just your underwear. You'll be completely fine, is what I understand from that. Now, before the break, we were talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers and their struggles. Kind of got us down, and played the song, the Humboldt Broncos song, Leave a Stick Out for You by Smitty Kingston. Amazing song. I'd never heard that before. I wanted to save my reaction until I played it live on air for you here. And wow, what a song. It really makes you think about the whole accident as a whole, which I don't know if I ever have. I don't know if many people have reflected on what it means. And we'll talk about it more closer to the anniversary of it. Not anniversary, but like the date. Kind of like today is the second 2-year, I keep saying anniversary. I don't know how else to describe it. 2-year anniversary of the day that Yordano Ventura passed away in a car accident in the Dominican Republic. Of course, he was the ace pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, hard-throwing guy. Bit of controversy around him. He was aggressive, got into fights on the field, but he was still a baseball player, really good baseball player. Won the World Series with them in 2015, and died too young, like Jose Fernandez, who had a long and successful career ahead of him, and we just don't know. There's nothing. The stats that we have of him are all we have of him, and that's all we're going to have. It's just what if, and it's too bad. But gotta kind of move. I don't want to say move on, but the Hall of Fame, the 2019 Baseball Hall of Fame. Sadly, it gets released tonight, which kind of grinds my gears, because it would have been amazing if it was released before the show today. But nobody wants to help the small radio guys. There is a tracker online that you can look at, see who's voted, see who they voted for, because a lot of people now are making it public before they cast their vote. They're showing everyone. And it's a thing that you can make public on the ballot. You check it off that says, I want this to be released to the public for, I think it's 2 weeks after the ballots are all collected and counted. But it shows on their first year on the ballot, Mariano Rivera at 100% and Roy Halladay at 92.8%. It looks like those two are going to get in on their first ballot. Edgar Martinez is at a 90.5. Mike Mussina is at an 81.4. I should make it clear, you need a 75% to get into the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens, Kurt Schilling, Barry Bonds are all in the 70s. Of course, Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, it's the huge thing of steroids. And whether people that have been on steroids have admitted to or have been accused of being on steroids belong in the Hall of Fame. And it's up to everybody. I'm not going to get into the debate here. I personally believe that they belong in the Hall of Fame because Barry Bonds is one of the best hitters in the league, or one of the best hitters all time, one of the scariest hitters all time, and that deserves to be recognized. Now, if you want to put an asterisk beside it, sure, that's fine. To me, at least it's fine. I don't know how Barry Bonds feels about it, but same goes for Alex Rodriguez in 5 years or whenever his Hall of Fame eligible. He had 3,000 hits, and it's something you don't see a lot. I also believe, I'm part of the argument, that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. He gambled on baseball. That's fine. Pete Rose never gambled against himself. He always gambled for his team. He never threw games, but I guess that's just his wording. You can never know. And I hope someday they recognize him. I hope it's before he passes away. Of course, I've heard, or it's come out, that he's not in the best health. I know it pains him. It's a huge thing for Pete Rose that he's not in the Hall of Fame. But we're kind of getting away. Tonight, it'll be released who's going to get in. I would love to see Roy Halladay get in. I think he deserves it. I would hope that his family decides he would wear a Blue Jays hat. It's up to them completely. That is one Hall of Fame ceremony I'll make sure to watch. Same with Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer of all time. Going to get voted in. Some people say he doesn't deserve it because he's a closer. I don't understand that. Maybe not the first ballot, but he's going to get in on the first ballot. It looks like, as of right now, all but 5 ballots have been shown online, and Mariano's at 100%. So if you, I don't know, if somebody's going to vote that he shouldn't get in, and whatever. As long as he's over that 75%, it doesn't matter, and it looks like he is. The Los Angeles Angels this offseason have making quite a lot of moves, trying to better their team, build around Mike Trout. See, that's Peter Shirley, that's what you do. You have the best player in the sport, or one of the best players in the sport, you build around them. Of course, they have Shohei Ohtani, who they got in. They just signed free agent closer Cody Allen to a 1-year, $8.5 million, with $2.5 million incentives for games finished at the end of it. Allen is coming off of a down season with the Indians. He was a part of that amazing Indians bullpen, him and Andrew Miller. Of course, Andrew Miller went off to the St. Louis Cardinals. But now the bullpen to beat, the best bullpen ever, not bullpen ever, best bullpen of the league will be the New York Yankees, who signed free agent reliever Adam Ottavino to a 3-year deal worth $27 million. That comes out to a lot of money each year. 27. I'm not going to do the math on air. It's $8 million? $9 million a year. There we go. Let's go. Get in the math. But he was virtually unhittable for the Rockies. He is an amazing slider. One of the best. But like they have Aroldis Chapman, Zach Britton, Adam Ottavino, Dellin Betances. That's their top 4 already there. If your starter goes 5 innings, you just got the game. And then Chad Green, Jonathan Holder, and Tommy Canley, who is also a good reliever. They just have an amazing relief core. Of course, starting rotation, Masahiro Tanaka, James Paxton, J.A. Happ, CC Sabathia, and no longer Sonny Gray, who was traded from the Yankees to the Cincinnati Reds on Monday. He then signed a 3-year extension with the Cincinnati Reds. It's going to keep Sonny Gray there for a while. Kind of Sonny Gray, he never really performed in New York, which is sad to see because he really deserved to perform. He's a good baseball player, good guy, and wish him the best in Cincinnati, of course. And the Red Sox kind of save up some room in the starting rotation, clear out a guy who really didn't want to be there because he wasn't going to start, and just kind of solve the problem in the starting rotation. And the Yankees made a really good move, probably the best move of the offseason. Sure, they signed Ottavino, but they signed reliever Danny Farquhar. And if you paid attention to the MLB last season, Farquhar was a pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, but in April he collapsed in the dugout during suffering from a life-threatening brain hemorrhage. He later underwent brain surgery and missed the remainder of the season. He returned to the White Sox in June and threw at a ceremonial first pitch and was then cleared to begin a throwing program. Over his, he's 31 years old. He has thrown 272 innings with a 3.93 ERA. I never said he was the best reliever. It was more just that this is a guy who has pitched well, is a really good guy, and instead of just letting him disappear, the Yankees sign him, and maybe he'll make the big league roster, or he'll be in AAA and get traded somewhere and make a big league roster. But at least he's back. He's overcome the adversity that is a brain hemorrhage, which is absurd that he's coming back from. Now we are winding down here. I shouldn't have played 2 songs there over the break. The other one was, of course, Brett Hissel's "Hockey Please Come Back." Throat was bothering me a bit. I don't know if you can hear it now. I needed to play a song quick. MLB, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado. No one's sure what's going to go on. I think this is going to go into spring training, maybe, or a bit before spring training, and it's just going to eat up the offseason. It's not the offseason anyone wanted. There's still lots of guys out there that are impacted by these 2 signings somewhere. A.J. Pollock, Mike Moustakas. The list goes on. Daniel Murphy's with the Rockies. But it's not fair to everyone else, and I'm hoping this ends soon. This ends very soon. I keep pushing it off. We will talk about the Blue Jays and what they've done this offseason because they've made moves, and they've made some good moves, and they're not going to be a good team this season. They're not going to challenge for an AL East playoff spot or a playoff spot at all, but they're going to be better than I think most people are expecting. And if they're not, they're not. But I think this is going to be a good Blue Jay season to watch, whether it's for the young guys, the old guys performing to get traded. But I don't think no one should be expecting playoffs, which is a really crappy way to look at baseball, but it's how the Blue Jays need to look at baseball. Don't look at this season, look at seasons next with the young guys. But that is all the time we have today for your Sports Break, broadcast on 92.7 C Triple FM through the wonderful facilities here at Trent Radio in the beautiful Peterborough, Canada. If you've missed previous shows, you can catch up on Twitter at SportsBreakTR. We'll be back next Tuesday at 9 a.m. for another show where hopefully we won't have to talk about the Edmonton Oilers. We'll talk about the NHL All-Star break, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the MLB offseason with the Toronto Blue Jays. I promise we'll get to the Blue Jays. There are 20 days until pitchers and catchers report for spring training. I can't wait. I don't know about you guys. I really want the baseball season back. As always, remember to check both your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. And have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.